Welcome to the video lecture on HS 300 Principles of Management. In this, we will be seeing the requirements of effective control. We know that managers are responsible for controlling, but it is always essential that this controlling must be effective. For the controlling to be effective, the control system must be modeled in such a way that it reflects plans or persons they are intended. Or in other words, we can say that the control system must be tailored. Though the fundamentals of all controls are universal, since each system is unique, it requires special design. Each control will be different, even though all the basic things are the same. Now let's see the requirements of effective control system. The first requirement is tailoring controls to positions and plans. Since each plan is unique, the control technique as well as the control system should match with the plans. Also, the managers must be provided with the information on how each plan will be progressing. Similarly, the controls must also match with, or it must be tailored to the position. For example, the controls appropriate for a vice president in charge of the manufacturing department will not be suitable for that of a shop supervisor. Also, if you are taking the case of a sales department, the controls of the sales department that will differ from those of the finance department, and both of them will differ from that of the purchase department. So controls should always match with the position of the person that is handling. Then finally, the controls should reflect on organization structure. Second requirement is tailoring controls to individual managers. That is, the controls should always match with the individual managers. The managers must be able to understand the controls devised. Then only it will be useful. For example, some people may need the information in forms of charts, while some other people, such as some mathematicians or scientists, they may be needing the information in the forms of some mathematical models. So, importance lies in providing the information in the way they want. Then only they will be able to understand, and then they will be able to use these controls. The third requirement of effective controlling is that the control must be able to meet expectations perfectly at critical points, because a small deviation from the established standards at critical points will have a greater impact. For example, assume that after performing a control process in a firm, two deviations are identified. The first deviation is that the cost of office labors deviated by 5%. The second one is the cost of postage stamp deviated by 20%. So in this case, we can clearly see that the first case will act like a critical point, because even though the deviation is only 5%, the impact of this 5% in the overall budget is high. So one must ensure that the expectations are met at such critical points for the control to be effective. Fourth requirement is that the control should never be subjective. That means the control must be objective. The personality of the manager or the personality of the subordinates should never influence the judgment of the performance. In other words, we can say that the effective control must be objective, accurate, and should always have a set standards. Fifth requirement is that the controls should remain effective under changed plans or unforeseen circumstances. In other words, we can say that the controls must be flexible. For example, we are preparing a budget. So, we know that this budget will be having a certain level of expense, and this budget will be prepared based upon a forecast of particular level sales. But what if the actual sales volume is lower than the forecasted volume? Then this entire budget will become meaningless. So what we need here is a flexible budget that will reflect the sales deviation. So that is regarding the flexibility of control. Depending upon the situations, one must be able to change the criteria of control. The sixth requirement is that for the control system to be effective, the control system must fit perfectly with the organization culture. For example, in an organization where people have been given considerable freedom and participation, a tight control system is not at all suitable, and this control system may even result in failure. So, control system should always be devised or modeled depending upon the organization culture. Then only we will be able to exercise control effectively. The seventh requirement of effective control system is regarding the economy of controls. The controls must always worth their cost. So hearing the requirement, we may feel that it is very easy to achieve, but it is actually very difficult to accomplish this. Since economy is relative, the manager finds it difficult to measure the worth of each control system. The best way to make the control system economical is to design them or to tailor them so that it will match with the job and size of the enterprise. And a control system can only be considered to be effective if it is able to identify the causes of actual deviations from plans with minimum cost. Finally, an effective control system should lead to corrective action. Effective control system should identify failures, people responsible for failures, and they should also ensure whether proper corrective action is taken. All of this can be achieved through appropriate planning, organizing, staffing, and leading. So these are the requirements of an effective control system. Thank you.